Hello, everyone. This is Dolores, Team 2 team leader. Hi, Grace. Hi, Robert. Hi, Becca. Hi, Jonathan. And who else has come on? There's a few other people flying in. That's fantastic. So this morning, this lunchtime, our power call is all about really just I want to work with a few people and how to unfold getting what you want in your life from the Team Management Leadership Program distinctions. Which is a huge topic. So in 15 minutes, we're going to do a very small amount of it and just try and highlight some of the key areas that make the difference. So does anyone, Robert, Grace, Becca, Jonathan, or anyone else on the call, have the distinction for Team 1 in front of them that they can generate?
The distinctions of Team 1.
Yeah, the design of Team 1. So,
okay. I think you mean the outcomes.
Yeah, no, the design. So creating
design
team and teamwork.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Cool. Does anyone have it? Can they generate it?
I should have that. I mean, I can usually generate that particular one without having it in front of me, but I should have that somewhere.
I have it somewhere.
Oh, here it is. It's right here. Yeah, here it is. Creating teams and teamwork in any situation that produce powerful results in many areas of life, with freedom and ease, while having affinity and possibility in all of one's conversations and relationships.
Brilliant. So that very first bit, creating teams and teamwork in many areas of life. Yeah. And the first thing, so inside of unfolding your life, where would it make the biggest difference if you could create teams and teamwork? Anyone want to create a specific area right now? Jumping to unmute.
It looks like you're looking right at me.
I am.
Even though I'm, only on audio. So how would it help me? Well, having teamwork. Well, ultimately, I do want to start a business, and I know I can't do everything by myself. I would need to have people that can do other things, that skills I don't have. So it would definitely help in that, and that's really why I joined Team in the first place, was for that reason.
Brilliant. Yeah. So I was in a very similar situation. I was starting a business, and it's like wanting to create team and teamwork. And the first thing I had was, in order to create team and teamwork in a business, I had to be able to pay everyone. I had to hire and recruit my team, and then I could do the work. And actually, one of the things I got in my very first quarter was how to create a power team around me of, people who had expertise in certain areas, people who could support me, my local growth hub, for example, to provide me with workshops and networking opportunities. And then, enrolling them to look out for who I needed to work with me and expand my connection. And literally, I put that as my first goal in my first quarter, to establish a free team to run my business. So kind of a free marketing team and a free networking team. And so, Jonathan, what do you hear in that from around your business?
Well, that's inspiring, but the thing is, how did you go about doing that? How did you find the people and inspire them to be part of a business that hadn't yet been created, I assume?
Yeah, so we had an idea. We had where we were going and what we kind of wanted to do. So the first thing that we did was literally I contacted and got in touch with. Oh, are you there? Everybody that I knew in my local area who had in the realm of business advice or business work. So that was that's when we talk about the unfolding. It's like getting into that sense, like, okay, so I want to create ultimately this team of advisors, but first of that, who is actually around giving that kind of advice right now? Like, who can I go and talk to? So at the beginning, it was some small kind of networking groups, some small business groups. Some of them were a bit too small business for the kind of area I was interested in. There were a lot of kind of will writers and wellness coaches. And so if you're in a consumer style business or a very sort of public customer focused business, then they were very effective. But I did meet through there an accountant. And that accountant was very useful and provided me a bit of support in terms of setting up my business for tax savings, etc. And then he went, actually, you know who you should speak to? There's this guy I know. And that conversation led me to a networking group a bit further afield, which was much more specific to my areas.
Right.
So then I had my accountant kind of guy who was giving me some advice. He connected me to someone who actually in the end ended up becoming our chairman. And he then connected us to a couple of other people. And it's that unfolding the conversations, standing in what you're looking to do and going and getting that from each conversation. So this is the other areas that you have the breakthrough. So then the challenge that I had is I would walk into where it was kind of local people and stuff. I was quite confident. But then I went into a meeting of very technically savvy IT people. And my business is in IT, but I'm not particularly technical savvy. And I clammed up. I was like, I can't talk to them. Who am I? All my point of view came up. All of that stuff came up, and it kept happening. So then into the next quarter inside of Team Management Leadership Program, I was unfolding, being able to, and I shared this in the team meeting, being able to go into a meeting of people who were, my peers, but they all knew more than me. They were just all way smarter than me, and being able to actually have conversations that were going to be effective inside of what I was trying to create. And that's what I unfolded in breaking through my point of view and having conversations in any circumstances. And that's what I put at stake in the next quarter of my program, to actually create inside of Team Management Leadership Program distinctions.
Yeah, I get what you did, but what's hard for me to understand is how that fits in with the sort of team game in the world structure, because things happen that you couldn't predict ahead of time. Like maybe you had researched a few of these networking groups, but then it was the accountant that actually seems to have been the key to going further. And then there were other groups that came up that you found out about, and then so. Looking backwards from the future, you didn't really predict all that ahead of time because you couldn't possibly know who would lead you to that. So how do you fit that into a team game in the world plan?
That's a really, really good question, because what I hear is you're seeing the unfolding. I don't know if anyone else wants to
I can say something about that. I mean, you can answer too, but Dolores, you're frozen.
Am I frozen?
Oh yeah, now you're unfrozen.
I can hear you, Grace, but
okay.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, I can hear you now too.
Sorry, I had to move. It was noisy behind.
Yeah, so it's kind of, so I guess how I would want to address that, so there's a couple things. One thing that I heard in what Dolores shared, Jonathan, was just, a lot of it was just, to some degree, hard work. And I've seen that when I'm unfolding something, like when we're unfolding like the CAP game, it really is like that. It's like, okay, we're starting to get a sense of how many conversations have to be held in order to have a registration, right? So if I were unfolding a business, right, and I said, okay, well, I need 4 leaders or whatever it is, and I were walking around enrolling people into my game or into my business, I would start to get a sense of like, how many conversations do I need to have in order for one person to say, yes, I want to join your business? And that's going to be different for every person. Then I'd want to start training myself and getting more yeses sooner. So that would be just in the realm of really unfolding and looking at how many conversations need to be had. Again, we really train in that in our training development opportunities, right? Like, in order to get a registration, I need X number of conversations. My experience of creating a business from nothing was much more inside of the of the conversation for possibility. And this really is going to depend on the kind of business and the kind of people you're talking to. But I was creating a business in a field that I knew nothing about. It was in the field of entertainment, and specifically entertainment to empower girls, like comic books for girls. And it was something that I really was excited about. And, you know, in the area of having powerful characters and powerful role models for girls, I started looking for parents of girls in that age group who were in the animation industry and could help me. And I just, again, there was a level of, I'm going to call it brute force, like how many conversations you have. But in my case, there was a lot more enrollment, because I think a lot of parents of girls in that age group, it's like sort of the 9 to 12 age group, were very, very frustrated at the entertainment that was available for their girls on TV. So that's sort of coming from a possibility. It looked a little bit more magical than what Dolores described, but I think in either case, there's some amount of brute force and some amount of enrolling people in the possibility, and you know, you're training yourself in both of those areas. You're training yourself in the team management leadership program, one, in, you know, being totally ready to talk to anybody in any situation about anything, and two, in being a master of enrollment. So I think both of those things are the factors in the technology for accomplishment.
Right.
And also, it's like being very clear that, you know, I mean, I describe it, I think I described it for you, you know that the end goal is being at the top of the mountain. And as of this date, I'm going to be standing at that point. And you don't have to, when you're unfolding your game, it's that you're going to be like at that point. It doesn't have to be a certain way. It doesn't have to be, I'm going to talk to this person and then this person will happen and this person. It's not. It's standing here looking back. I need to have these people enrolled, but, you know, how can I create the conversations, all of the conversations necessary, those conversations for possibility, keep enrolling people and keeping that possibility alive, generate the opportunities. Then from the, you know, within the opportunities, you're still standing at, I'm going here and this is going to happen. And then you're enrolling people in that with you.
Right.
No, I did it this week. You know, I had the Women in Innovation presentation to do. And I was standing with the presentation and I was preparing it. And then there was a moment when I suddenly went, I'm not delivering this inside of my training. I'm not standing in the future fulfilled. And the minute I went to, I want to take you to November 2019. We're at the Smart Manufacturing Show in Liverpool. This is who's around. This is what's showing up. This is what's happening. Literally, the whole presentation came alive. I could generate possibility. I was generating how it was going to be. And actually, I'm pitching for a lot of money to have that all happen. It's a plan I've already unfolded, but I don't know who those people are going to be in November. I don't know, what other companies I'm actually going to be collaborating with, but I do know that that's what's going to show up. And then it's just enough conversations to happen to ensure that that is the done deal.
Is that future fulfilled? Is that like a picture that you have, like a vision of what it looks like, or how is that for you?
Yeah, and it's literally, here I am. I'm standing. It's November 2019. I'm at the Smart Manufacturing Show in Liverpool. The Manufacturing Awards are tomorrow night, and I'm up for an award as a Women in Innovation in Connected Manufacturing. And around me are 200 of collaborative communities of manufacturers who've learned that the best way for them to really tackle artificial intelligence and big data is to collaborate together. And it's a breakthrough in communication in manufacturing, because most manufacturers operate like my business, everyone else is a competitor. And through sharing their own individual small data packages and operations, they've created a foundation of improved productivity that has turned the UK manufacturing from 15% behind our closest competitors to a world leader in utilizing the world's resources in an effective way, and a world leader in providing solutions in manufacturing and products in an efficient and resource-friendly manner.
That is very inspiring, Dolores. The other thing I get from this is the importance of the networking groups. Like, that wasn't something I was really thinking very much about, but that seems to be quite important.
It's, you know,
I think it's
what,
individual. I didn't have that as part of my games. It didn't.
No.
I think that's very individual. I think that the thing that you really want to, I don't know if this is your experience, Dolores, I'm going to ask you. Like, my experience on team has been that in almost 100% of the cases, the games don't end up being accomplished exactly the way that the person thought it was going to happen. It was like half of the things happened the way they said it was going to happen, and half of the things were like almost miraculous things. And I'm not saying things did go wrong. Yeah, a lot of things went wrong too, but like the end result happened, but not the way that they thought it was going to occur.
no.
So it's
Right.
almost 100% of the cases I've seen. Has that been
Yeah.
your experience? Yeah.
Completely.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of my games, my last game in the last quarter of Team One, was to reach 1,000 women, to share the impact and get that they didn't have to be at the, you know, they could be at the cause of the impact of endometriosis and really communicate that. And I had it was going to be an event, and this is how it was going to show up and everything else. And actually what happened is through various conversations, I got connected to Endometriosis UK and got asked to go on a women's health radio show that then had a whole load of other sharing. And by the end, there were way more than 1,000 women reached. You know, it literally went bonkers.
Wow.
And if I'd limited my game to no, it has to be this way, it has to actually show up like this, I'd have gone, oh, no, I like the radio show idea, but I've got to do my event. I'd have missed that opportunity and ultimately not delivered on the promise of the game. So it's always standing in, what is the promise? What is the, you know, the empowering context and the possibility, and how is that going to show up, and then enrolling others. And the key beauty of team and teamwork is when you share something with someone such that they, you know, 6 months down the line, they're sharing it back to you, and you're hearing your own ideas, and they're owned 100% by someone else.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're literally taken that baton to go, I'm going with this and I'm going to create it over here. And then someone comes back and you want to hear this idea, this thing, this project that these guys are working on. It's amazing. And you're thinking, yeah, you know, that's the one I started. And that's the team expansion that really takes on.
Right. Well, as the moderator or whatever of this call, I see it's 20 minutes past 1, so I think we have to end it here. But there's so much more to talk about, but in a future call, perhaps we can carry on this discussion.
Yeah, we can all come together, you know, share our experiences. I think with across all of us, there's probably those nuggets of miracles, as Grace just talked about, that would be great to share.
Yeah.
So thanks, everyone, and thanks for inviting me today.
Yeah, thank you, Dolores, and thanks everybody who tuned in, so to speak. Bye for now.
Bye, guys.
Take care.